Finally, The Rock has come back to.
We should have been done this. The podcast. You're The Rock. You
I guess
led
so.
with yourself.
Finally, yeah, probably.
Would you be J-Rock? Welcome to
J-Rock.
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 J-Rock. Speaking of, he did come back.
He did come back
Briefly.
Who knows? It's gonna be briefly. WrestleMania season coming. That's when them checks get. They cut the checks. WrestleMania. What?
You tried to get me again.
You did that. You
tried to get me
I didn't
again.
touch your chair.
You tried to get me.
Ain't nobody touch your chair, man.
You got to watch.
Ain't nobody did that, man. Yeah, nobody touch your chair.
You done delayed filming for I wanted to say how many days, and you come back, and then you try to short seat.
I did.
You're a short seat.
I did not murder him.
You're a short seat.
I didn't do it.
But so, in regards to The Rock, you think he'll
Yep. They about to pay him. They about to sign.
Yeah, because the movies.
You can't. I mean, you can't tease. There's only so long you can tease it because Roman Reigns is gonna have to take a break, or he got to lose the belt at some point. If it's not this year, then it's next year. I don't think Rock's gonna get the belt. I don't think the belt needs to be on the line for that match to be a big match. So like he can lose the belt at the Royal Rumble or the pay-per-view before WrestleMania. It could be The Rock's fault, and then he challenges The Rock, or The Rock challenges him for the head of the table, whatever tribal chief moniker. Excuse me. Rock's probably gonna lose, but
definitely was 50 and some change, going on 60 at some point.
I mean, that's it. You saying as if it's gonna be a real fight. I mean, story wise.
I mean, even story wise, you can't move in that ring like you moved 15 years ago.
Honestly, if you really think about it, The Rock was a glorified jobber.
Easy, okay.
He won some championships, no doubt.
We're gonna move on.
He lost a lot to Triple H and Stone Cold.
I mean, but that was in the writing, which
like head to head.
Say, racism. Take that.
I'll take that.
Find me a champion.
But he was.
Find me. Name me a black champion.
Oh, every time they have a black champion, Brock Lesnar comes and beats him.
Racist.
Kofi Kingston, Brock Lesnar comes squash.
You find the biggest.
Biggie.
You find the biggest white guy in the room. 1, 2, 3.
It was worse than that for Kofi Kingston. Bell rang and he just jumped on him. He just caught him on his shoulders, F5'd him, and pinned him. Yeah, the very first time, the first episode of SmackDown on Fox too.
I mean, if you would look at the history of it, and I was joking in regards to
Kofi Kingston was the first African American, because The Rock claimed Samoan and all that stuff.
Right.
So Kofi Kingston was the first African American WWE champion.
Now, then, just real briefly, since I somehow took us here, you think that is that similar to the baseball situation, to where not a lot of black Americans see that as a viable means of finance, or even really have the love, or even if, hey, you better get out there and you get a real job, or whatever the case is. So there's not that many of. Well, hold on, let me finish. Because Carol, would you let me talk?
I hear what you're saying.
But I mean, if we're not doing it,
but they are doing it. That's what I'm saying.
I don't watch since The Rock left.
At that time, we had Ahmed Johnson, who ruined it for himself, honestly, because they say he was just a cancer backstage. Yeah. Farouk,
but what? See, now, if you're going to say that, now you got to think back.
No, it's the black people. The black people were saying he was a cancer backstage. He got into a fight with Mark Henry. Farouk in real life. So the black said he was a cancer backstage. Vince McMahon loved him because anybody yoked up like that, Vince McMahon is like, hey, you're going to the top, kid. And so Vince McMahon loved him. But
man, John, I remember when Goldust kissed him. He woke up. Ran backstage. Oh,
yeah. Man. So at that time, we had Farouk, who had already become over in WCW. He was the first black champion. He came over here and put him in a group full of the Nation of Domination.
Wait a minute. Let's go a little. Wait a minute now. So when I remember him from the WWE, WWF at the time, you're saying prior to that,
he's in WCW.
He was already a WCW champion. Mm-hmm. So that means they plucked him from the WCW with equality and rights and brought him over here to sit him down on the sidelines
Put a
until
Kofi on him
they gave it to Kofi. Speaking of Kofi.
Yeah, basically.
Wow.
So they had him, they had Mark Henry, which I get why they didn't give them. Well, I mean,
I remember the Nation.
Like I'm saying, just all of them over there. They just gave all the black people stereotypical gimmicks to where it's like, do you want this person? Like, obviously, they're not about to have somebody from the Nation of Domination representing their company.
No, not at all.
So there was that. They would strike all of them. So that includes D'Lo Brown, Mark Henry, Farouk, Kamala, aka the Godfather. All of them out there. Ahmed Johnson ruined his chances backstage.
That man was a pimp. They made him be a pimp.
The stereotype.
He went from
the junkyard dog,
the Nation of Domination, and then they made him be a pimp.
A great character, by the way.
It was fantastic.
But yeah. So then they had Viscera, who was just a large,
the big guy with the
mohawk. Yeah. But at the time, his name was Mabel.
I remember Mabel because it was a tag team, wasn't
it? He had some little dude with him, but he walked around with that purple outfit on, shiny purple outfit.
Yeah.
Then you got, like I said, they had Junkyard Dog.
Yeah.
They had Coco Beware. Oh, man, Coco. That's where I got that from.
Coco Beware.
So, like, there were black people there,
but
I don't know if they were. They just didn't. They let them stay in the mid card
until Kofi,
and then because even The Rock, because he claimed so much of his Samoan side, they didn't necessarily like he was a person of color, but they didn't consider him the first African American champion. And Kofi won in what? That was before or after the pandemic?
I want to say briefly before. I think
that was like 2017, 2018.
Oh, so now you continued to watch, once The Rock and all them left, and your history before that seems pretty solid. I stopped
for a second and came back.
So would you say there was anybody that had microphone talent and in-ring talent to the equivalent of the guys we saw win as a Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H?
No, that's why I stopped.
John Cena and all that.
That's why I stopped, because at that point, I stopped like that whole Evolution stuff. I wasn't watching that. Actually, I'll tell you when I stopped. Every once in a while I watch a pay-per-view because my cousin would buy them all the time.
Okay.
I stopped after The Rock left, but then when they split the shows up and they gave SmackDown like all the B Carters, like that's when Edge was a singles person.
Yeah.
Kurt Angle, which in hindsight, I didn't appreciate Kurt Angle the way I should.
I always did. Kurt Angle was great.
Kurt Angle, I didn't like him back in the day when he was actually wrestling. I was like, he sucks. Like, why? There's 3 eyes and drinking milk. I'm like,
he had the ankle lock. He drunk the milk.
Right before he left is when I started liking him.
That ankle slam for me, because it was just such a simple move. But he just scooped him up and went around and he, get that. I'll snap it.
I'm gonna break your freaking ankle.
He was great.
But yeah, like all the people I knew, they stayed on Raw, and I didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch. Shawn Michaels and Triple H and all them other people. I had to watch Edge be a singles person. I think Eddie Guerrero when he first. Now I messed with Eddie Guerrero, but this was before they put him in the main event scene. Now he was always a bigger person.
He wasn't
not in WCW, but he was yoked up. It was when he cut the mullet off. That's when you could really tell. That's when you could.
That might have been what it was.
Yeah, boy, him, Chris Benoit was there. Just a bunch of people I wasn't too familiar with, so I just didn't. Is when Devon had the little what's he called? Devon had the Reverend Devon gimmick going on.
Okay. Yeah, I do remember that. Wow.
Yeah, with Deacon Batista, but as soon as Batista got big enough to like they separated him, they moved him over to Raw. So it was like so they kept trying to make Raw like the big show and SmackDown the B show.
Definitely once The Rock left because it was his show because he went on there for years. The Rock show SmackDown. So once The Rock is gone, it's like, well, who's gonna carry the show?
Yep. Eventually, Undertaker came back, I think, and then Kane, which I always felt like Kane was they played Kane his whole career.
You said the Undertaker what?
Came back.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is why we're here for our main topic. This segue is going to be beautiful. Matthew Stafford and his return to Ford Field. What does he do? Does he throw
How was it
for
done?
4, 5, 6? How many touchdowns?
What was it?
We'll come back to wrestling later. Does he
had me on the roll? It's just
what
like
does he do?
man, he's gonna throw for 872 yards, 5 touchdowns, and a loss. That's
And
what's
the
gonna happen.
loss. They got a good running game.
They're not as good as the Lions running defense.
Okay, so you got the Lions winning that one.
The Lions gonna win.
They're now saying that it's going to be 0 degrees for this Kansas City Buffalo game. Who do you
They're
feel
telling
that
Kansas
helps?
City residents to stay indoors, and they still want to have this game. They just move it to Indianapolis and call it a day.
Is Kansas City, this team currently, are they any good without the help of that crowd against Josh Allen and his run? You know,
if
Josh
they
Allen.
can't catch the ball when it's warm outside, they for sure ain't catching the ball when their hands are numb.
So who you got?
I think Buffalo gonna win.
Because Buffalo is used to playing in colder weathers than Kansas City.
I think Buffalo gonna win.
Okay. Philadelphia and
Tampa Bay.
there we go. Thank you. I told you, Phillies. They've broken my heart.
I'm gonna tell you.
Does Baker get it done?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Is this the exorcism
This is
of the Mayfield demons?
this is.
They didn't want him in Cleveland. Cleveland's flourishing.
I will say this.
They didn't want him in Carolina. Carolina's still terrible. Clearly, he had to go in L.A. because Stafford's back, and he's back. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, if Baker Mayfield gets it done,
Yeah.
Philly needs to blow it all up.
Blow it
If
all up.
if he can't throw a single touchdown against Carolina
Ooh.
in the last game of the season, and he had bonus incentives on the line.
He did.
He throws for 265 yards or something like that, and he gets like $500,000. He threw for like 180. He throws for like 2 touchdowns. He gets another incentive. He didn't throw for none.
Maybe he's got playoff incentives. Maybe
I mean, everybody has playoffs,
right. So maybe he figured
got that
those
flex.
outweigh these. If I can make this happen,
Possibly, but he barely made that happen. They scored 9 points, 3 field goals,
in his defense,
9-0.
he hasn't had a game that bad. I don't believe all season. Now,
I mean,
why it happened against Carolina?
Had a pretty bad game against the
So anyway,
Lions as well.
so he's had 2 bad games. 2 bad games. Maybe even 3. But
and
can
this is a
Philadelphia
rematch.
right the ship?
This is a rematch.
Is it too late for Philadelphia to right the ship? You got Ravens.
I mean, as long as you're playing, it's not too late. It's not too late until you get eliminated.
Okay, you got the Ravens ending well. You have the Rams ending well. You've got Buffalo ending well. You've got the Lions have fairly ended well. Dallas ending well.
I mean, they ended well.
Even Green Bay ending well. And then here you are, the Eagles.
What was they? 10-1.
10-1. Falling off of a roof and falling into the playoffs.
11-6.
It's pretty bad. You've got some teams that have. Buffalo has won 5. They've lost 5 out of their last 6. And none of these teams, I believe, maybe
Giants
4 of them.
They
almost
lost.
Were a bad team.
It almost was 6 straight because
And
they almost lost to the Giants the first time.
And then and for the most part, 2 bad teams.
It was
Like
the
they lost
Giants
to 2 good
twice,
teams, right?
the Cowboys,
Okay, that
the
was understandable.
49ers.
I believe they, because
And
they
then-
got somebody shellacked them. Was that the
Yeah, the
first?
49ers.
Yeah,
And
and then the
then,
Cowboys. I thought they put a. I think they might have put a beating on them
The second time, I know they beat the
because they
Cowboys
haven't
the first
lost. The Cowboys, I don't think they've lost the last. They're like 5 weeks. Dak's been.
time. Asterisk.
But
But
we do have to discuss that. So Broncos, Philly. Who do you have coming out?
Broncos, Philly. I mean, Bucks.
Thank
Bucks,
you.
Philly.
Bucks, Philly. Who you got coming out?
I'm going to say Philly only because like they haven't been playing good.
But they got the offense.
They can play good.
They can.
If Tampa Bay beats them, blow
That's it.
could get rid of the coach. Get rid of, I don't know if it's the defense's fault.
Yeah.
Everybody on defense got to go. If it's Jalen's fault, you can't say you didn't give him help because they started off good. He just fell off a cliff.
Yeah.
And he has A.J. Brown, DeAndre Swift.
He fell off the cliff. Everybody else then fell off the cliff weeks later.
Jason Kelce gonna have to go in there and tell them, like, listen, guys,
my brother will not have two on me. Just in there roughing them up.
Yeah,
let them off the hook. Why I oughta. That's what Kelce got to go in there. But with the why I oughta. Buffalo plays
Kansas City.
Okay, we discussed that. It was good because it was cold. Cleveland. There we go.
Cleveland plays not the Steelers, not the Texans.
Actually, it is the Texans.
It is the Texans?
Yeah.
Oh, I got Cleveland.
Flacco back like he never left from Ravens when he was on a similar type of role.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you one thing.
He's rolling.
He is rolling. I'm gonna tell you this. Something is going on in that Cleveland defense, Walter, because they play a ridiculous. Like Myles Garrett scares people.
They're ready.
He scares people.
So
like grown men are afraid of this man.
Are they better than? So who would end up playing with Cleveland and Buffalo play each other before Cleveland and the Ravens played each other?
The number 5 seed. I mean, it all depends on who loses between because Buffalo is Buffalo's number 2.
They are number 2,
which means Miami plays
they
the Steelers.
Yeah, they do.
So Miami is so that makes Miami number 5.
Yeah, and that's
hold on.
I don't think they know. Hold on.
They're number 7.
I thought Miami plays somebody else, but it might be Pittsburgh.
I mean, Pittsburgh's in the playoffs
because Miami's falling into the playoffs as well. They got injuries now. Even Tyreek tweaked his ankle the other week. But why are you thinking about that? Who was one of the only teams to beat Baltimore?
Steelers.
And that was really okay. Who was and that was without Flacco.
That was the Steelers without Flacco.
Okay. All right. It was Cleveland. And they beat Baltimore without Flacco off defense alone. Arrested Flacco because he didn't play last week. It's trouble.
Here we go.
Trouble. Go ahead, read them all.
We got Steelers. Bills.
Steelers. I'm asking the questions here. All right, Steelers, Bills. There we go.
Steelers and the Bills. Yeah.
The
Bills going.
So if in fact, you're being
we're filming. Adam Moss. That's the guy from America's Most Wanted.
I thought that name was familiar.
Yeah, you know.
So
no, he's trying to book me for something, I'm sure.
Now let's go back and fix it. Okay. Now let's go back and fix it. Do the Dolphins stand a chance playing football in 0 degree weather? There's cold weather, and then there's 0 degree weather.
If they play there,
because is Mostert still hurt, or is it just because is it just I don't know how to say it.
Ashane.
Thank you, Ashane.
I'm assuming that Mostert, if he can play, he will play.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I know Waddle didn't play the last game. Tyreek kind of tweaked the ankle a little bit. We all know if you get thumped in the ear at 0 degree weather, that feels rough.
They're gonna be out there warming up with no shirt on.
That's the only way to do it.
That's how you got to assimilate. You got to assimilate.
You get in the cold tub now.
Yeah.
And 2 minutes every day and get that breathing together because it's going to be brisk. But then to your point earlier, Tyreek doesn't have a lot of drops. Neither does the tight end. But those boys in Kansas City, when them fingers get cold, he said, my hands, show mercy. And then we have, as we said, Cleveland, Houston. You got Cleveland all the way?
I got Cleveland. beating Houston. I don't know Houston. Wait.
I mean, what you think?
I got what's the seeding again?
So we got
who's because Cleveland is going. I think they're going to be
Houston, and then Miami, Kansas City,
and Miami is number. Was they right?
It doesn't. It just has the spread. What type of gambling site are you on?
This is on USA Today.
It just has the spread. It doesn't even have rankings. Gambling has taken over the world. Gambling has taken over the world.
Let me find a different. Different.
Well,
that was the USA.
Well,
Today
while
website.
you're doing that, then what do you
think
Fox
Sports would probably
is what do you think is driving?
Buffalo is number 2.
So we know that Buffalo, unless Josh Allen is Josh Allen for 4 quarters, Buffalo should have no issues,
especially with T.J. Watt not
being
playing.
They should have no issues beating Pittsburgh. And Mike Tomlin has done phenomenal things with keeping this team relevant and in the playoffs. But everybody can agree Josh Allen at his best, is a top 1-2 quarterback. The issue that would drop him down to 2 would be those fourth quarters when he is, for whatever reason.
So the only way the Browns play the Ravens in the next round is if Pittsburgh and Miami both lose.
Which is possible.
If Pittsburgh loses to Buffalo and Kansas City loses Miami, then lowest seed plays highest seed, Baltimore plays Cleveland, and Kansas City.
They got to meet up somewhere.
Kansas City plays Buffalo.
They got to meet up in the championship. But I don't want to see that.
Cleveland and Baltimore?
Yeah, they're going to have to. I don't want it to, because then we know who's going to win.
It's more of a story,
right? But then we know who's going to win. They have number 1 and number 2 defense.
Like you said, no. I'm saying Baltimore lost to him without Flacco.
No. I'm saying if they play all these other teams, like I'm saying, if they play each other early, like we know whoever wins that game is probably going to come out of the AFC.
Who, Baltimore and Cleveland?
Right. Minus this Josh Allen situation, but Josh Allen is, who knows? Who's beating Cleveland besides Baltimore?
You said who's beating? Did you hear that phrase?
I never thought I would ever say it. I'm sure
who's beating Cleveland?
I'm sure that's what Baker Mayfield wanted him to say the entire time. I'm sure that's what Deshaun wanted them to say while he was under center. But no, it has not happened. But I mean, if you look at how they're playing, they've got the defense. Flacco. Deshaun either needs, I don't even know how to say this, they need to legally figure out a way to get him back to being him, because there's no way that a man out for a season and some change comes back and looks like a shell of himself, and then another man who's been gone for seasons comes back.
He played quite a bit for the Jets last year.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you're right. He did.
Yeah,
but
they didn't win much.
But he's finding any and everybody.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper, Njoku, Jerome Ford. Was it
Kareem Hunt?
Some of the receivers whose names I don't know. Flacco is finding him. If this, in fact, is that Flacco, nobody stands a chance. Because even San Francisco didn't really stand a chance.
San Francisco.
Once they cut them lights off, they had some time to try to regroup. But nobody stood a chance in that Super Bowl. If this is that Flacco,
San Francisco lost to Cleveland and Baltimore, didn't they?
Oh.
They got beat down by Baltimore. They just lost a field goal by Cleveland. So you're saying, so what you're saying is the AFC is going to come down to Cleveland and Baltimore.
It has to be, unless we get, well, no, because even who was that? Not Kincaid. Was it Gabriel Davis? He went down. So both of those teams are healthy, minus, well,
I wouldn't say. Yeah, I mean, I guess
who's the other running back for Cleveland? Like the main running back?
He's been,
Chubb. But I'm saying he's been out.
Right.
Yeah, but I mean, but you got Deshaun's out, Chubb is out. But as far as going into the playoffs, Baltimore and Cleveland are going in with great momentum, and they haven't, they don't have a lot of injuries.
You're not wrong.
Miami's lost people. Kansas City.
You're not wrong.
Yeah, Kansas City. Well, Kansas City. Unless.
Is the Josh Allen conundrum?
No, I was going to say, was it DeMeco Ryans, right?
For the
coach of the, unless he got them boys galvanized and fired up, and we see something we haven't seen before, and young CJ leads them all the way, because they're not a bad team at all.
No, I mean, they won 10 games.
But I don't know. To your point earlier, I don't know what anybody would do up against that Cleveland defense.
That's a mean defense.
So was Baltimore's.
So
barring injury,
best defense is going to make it to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said. And Flacco has been there, and in his run, he did make a lot of mistakes, but then Lamar's last couple of games have been fairly mistake-free.
Isn't it crazy how quarterbacks like Lamar or whatever, when he plays a bad game, you be sitting there who was he throwing it to?
Really?
It's just but when he plays a good game, it's just it's so night and day. It's
then you get it. You're like, MVP.
Yeah, but it's just so night and day. It's like, what is the defense doing so differently to make him make these horrible decisions and terrible reads? Like,
well, Cleveland knows. Cleveland knows what to do. I'm just saying. But they've had a good defense. Since Baker, they've had a good defense. That was what they were riding on. Baker just wasn't Joe Flacco. You said, what now?
Didn't Pittsburgh beat them twice?
Beat who twice?
Baltimore.
They might have. Which is weird because they couldn't
score.
Did
they beat them at the beginning of the season?
Don't remind me. I had a parlay put together, and I believe nothing happened in that game.
You talking about the other day?
I said Lamar. No.
Oh, the first game?
Yeah. I said Lamar, come on, baby. Don't do me like this.
Yeah.
Why would you do me like this?
Well,
so maybe when it comes to that front four, nothing Lamar can do. But now let's
go. I was just about to say, now moving over to the end.
Let's transition on over to the NFC.
All right, we're gonna go lower seeds first.
Thank you. Let's transfer on over to the NFC. We got Green Bay and the Cowboys.
Well, I was thinking about this long and hard.
Okay,
let's talk about this to some people. I was like, the Cowboys, because they're in Jerryland, may win. However,
they are in Jerryland.
The Packers, like you said, they riding some momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Jordan Love is not playing bad.
He's not.
Jair Alexander is back. Put him on CD, and that's a problem.
He is.
And I would not. I don't like either one of them, so I can't say, I can't be like, oh, yeah, man.
But you missed the most important thing.
The most important thing is, do not be surprised if the Packers
Why is that?
win this game.
Why is that?
Because of...
You the one told him, we stress him, we talk about it all the time.
What? Dak ain't who we say he is?
No, because it's a division game.
It's not a division game.
It is.
The Packers are in the Lions division.
You know what? You're right. Oh, yeah. You're right. Yeah, because what is it? Chicago, Minnesota, Green Bay, Detroit. Oh, well, then in that regard,
no,
Cowboys by 30.
I would not be surprised.
Oh, no, they're going to beat the Braves.
Like I'm picking the Cowboys to win. I actually want the Cowboys to win because here's the thing. Here's the thing. I'm gonna tell you why. Because both of those games could be a revenge games for the Lions. Lions got to make up for that Thanksgiving debacle.
That was their fault.
That one was on them. And so if the Packers win and they have to go to Detroit and play them again,
no, I'd rather them stay out of the division game.
Listen, the Lions ain't about to let that happen twice.
They shouldn't let it happen the first time.
Well,
they need to stay out of the division.
They ain't about to lose at Fort Field to the same team twice. But I want them to go back down to Jerryland and just put their foot on the back of their heads. I do.
I know Goff is capable because I've seen him throw that many touchdowns before.
Goff ain't having a game. Goff played
no.
Listen,
they're gonna need Los Angeles.
Let me talk.
Go ahead, man.
I have some things to get off my chest.
Go ahead.
First and foremost, that offense ain't gonna play that bad against that defense again. Micah Parsons was held in check by Penei Sewell, but Goff was making bad passes.
I know, I was there.
Yeah, you saw it firsthand.
I did.
You saw it firsthand.
I saw it from eagle hand. I got tickets.
Golf.
I was up.
You was watching through your phone.
Yeah, I said, is that?
So you sent me that video. Like, why you stop running? I said, what?
I said, is that?
So why you send me a video of Tecmo Bowl? Like, is this
Emmitt Smith? I'm sorry.
But yeah, Goff tends to adjust well against teams he plays against twice. When he loses the first time, is ironically the opposite the second time around when he wins the first time.
Let's hope he cleans it up.
But if he plays the Cowboys again, that even with that one play that was bull crap, that illegal touching or whatever, the play after that, well, not the play after that when they
kick the extra point.
No, you go down there and you win that game.
Oh Lord! Right, you win it. Because you kick the extra point, and you win the game.
You go into overtime.
They only scored twice. You beat them in overtime.
You give the referees more time. No. You give Jerry Jones more time. Like, hey, quick, go to my vault and get more money. We're coming.
That's why you beat them where there is no question.
That's what's going to happen when they go down there.
U of M beat Washington.
Absolutely. But we're not about to transition. We're not. You're going to get all of this right now.
That's fine.
Right now.
Me, I'm gonna say the Cowboys about 21 because they are in Jerry World, and Dak is rolling now.
Before we go there, real quick, how is that stadium?
It's a thing of beauty. It is pretty nice. It's massive. I mean, most any stadium is massive, but no, it's even like they have like a small field like in the front. I don't want to. The only word that comes to mind is vestibule, but there's a nice vestibule area in the front, for kids and activities or just to walk around. But obviously, it was a tad late. I had walked a mile to get to the stadium because my little brother believes he knows where to park. But
it's a good spot. Ain't nobody gonna be over here.
But there were people tailgating.
It's 30 miles.
Right. There were people tailgating.
You parked in Houston.
Yeah, that's right. We was walking. I'm like, man. But they were like tailgating, because I tried to go buy a ticket at the box office. But for them, apparently, and at Arlington, which is where the Cowboys play, in Arlington, they like liars. Like they don't have tickets. Like, they don't have tickets. Apparently, all the tickets belong to season ticket holders. So any ticket you're buying from somebody who at any moment.
So it's an exclusive club.
Apparently. And the majority of the tickets the people put are on SeatGeek. So I couldn't go to the box office, so somebody told me there I had to go to SeatGeek. All right, cool. Then I'm looking, and I'm like, and then you get the price, and then you get the SeatGeek fee, then you get the tax. With the roof, the roof isn't that bad. We're still in the building. But for anybody, even for yourself, myself, moving forward, if there's ever that option again between the seats I had, which weren't the worst, and the standing room only, I would do the standing room only for sure, just because of the financial differences. And one seat, and because standing room, you can always kind of finesse and slide in, and while you're standing, you're just watching who hasn't came back from the bathroom break, and then you slip in. But anyway,
they got kicked out and been too drunk.
There you go. But anyway,
I'm gonna go down there one day.
Great game.
I'm gonna go down there one day.
Great facility. Jerry did. He did put his foot. Yeah, he went all the way in that one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go down
but
there.
But now to the
pee on the building
subject.
Wow,
the subject.
But yeah. I think the Cowboys will win, but I will not be surprised if the 21. Packers do.
They'll either blow them out or they'll lose by 3.
That's exactly my thing.
Yeah,
that's exactly my thing. They're either gonna go out there and do what they're supposed to do if they're really that good. If they're really that good.
Now, what's wild is whoever. This is a wild season this year. Whoever wins it all would be someone who has been counted against. For example, when the Chiefs won, they've been rolling. The Chiefs, they got it. When Tampa Bay, it's Tom Brady, they got it. Peyton Manning, it's Peyton, they got it. You know what I mean? But this year, it could be Cleveland. Counted out for years. I'm not done. It could be Baltimore. Lamar, counted out for years. Is he the MVP? Is he not what everybody says he is? The Detroit Lions. Can they wash the stink off of them from 30 years of lows? And then all it takes is one high.
You may not see me for weeks.
Or the Dallas Cowboys.
It won't be the Cowboys.
Who, according to the great Stephen A. Smith, an accident waiting to happen, and the only team close to that same accident would be the Detroit Lions. Counted against the Eagles, who this season were rolling, and now counted against. So whoever... and then I forgot Josh Allen. Everybody knows he's got all the talent in the world, but can he get it done? So whoever wins this, and then I guess I might as well say, based off of where this season has been, if Kansas City pulls it off, nobody would think. There'll be some asshat. I knew it the whole time. No, you didn't.
I think the only team that nobody would like that doesn't have that kind of story would be the 49ers. Because the only time they lost, the only time they were losing was when there were injuries. When they were healthy, nobody counted them out.
And nobody has ever said,
if they play against the Ravens again. Because the way they lost against the Ravens.
And that was healthy.
Yeah, but there's no doubt they are the favorites to make it to the Super Bowl out the NFC.
Yeah, and no one has doubted Purdy. Now, they've doubted Purdy without the weapons, like how you were just speaking to. but no one has doubted him with a full team. So, yeah, minus San Francisco, anybody else that wins has been counted out. Now, I don't want to disrespect them, but I don't think anybody's expecting the Rams to make it to the Super Bowl. No one's counting them out either. But speaking of that,
they said they're one of the most dangerous teams in the.
Well, that's because Matthew Stafford and they're rolling. But speaking of that game, did you know since the trade, Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff's stats are nearly identical?
I did know that.
Of course you did.
I did know that.
Nearly identical.
Goff has like 2 more touchdowns.
Yeah, but then Stafford has been injured, so I'm sure it kind of washes itself clean at some point. But then he also has the hardware. But who do you have?
Who do you think I have?
I mean, you've been
they're going to come
for 20 years.
Listen,
18
it's
years.
Going to be,
you've been the Stafford guy. For that many, that was your quarterback.
He was my quarterback.
You just washed him away
because he's not on my team anymore.
I mean, but why would he want to stay and rebuild?
I'm not. He's not on my team anymore. Okay. I'm not loyal to the man.
But you are loyal to the man then.
I'm not loyal to that man.
You're loyal to the Ford man, which is probably worse.
I'm loyal to the organization because if they sell the Lions and they stay in Detroit, I'm still a Lions fan. If they sell the Lions and they move somewhere else, and I'll be a Michigan Panthers.
So fan. So you said he does well. Stafford's going to do
well.
I
think he's going to do well.
But you see the Lions
because
closing out.
I think it's going to be similar to these Vikings games with a closer score because they, for whatever reason, them number 1 receivers these last few weeks have been running rampant. Granted, the Cowboys game, CD played a good game, but 92 of them yards is taken away if they play smart defense. I was watching that.
I said, who's going to guard?
Because Cam Sutton tripped, and they had no safety help, so I'm just like,
touchdown.
Like the way he slowed down after he caught it, when I was watching, because there was no sound on, I was doing a comedy show. I was like, did they call a flag? Did they call a play dead or something like that? What's happening? He just slowed down that much. I'm like, oh, nobody's around him. He's walking to the end zone from the 20-yard line.
Not one person.
So, but then there's Justin Jefferson, who, in my opinion, is the best receiver in football because he missed 9 games and still made it over 1,000 yards.
Wow. That's quite a feet.
He has over 1,000 yards.
He could have maybe got to 2,000.
8 games? Yeah, 8 games.
He could have maybe got to 2,000.
Or 7 games. 8 games.
Dang.
In 8 games, he got 1,000 yards. He's the best receiver in football.
So to recap,
there's one more game that I didn't comment on the NFC.
Oh wait, no, we talked about Philadelphia.
Yeah, we talked about Philly and Tampa.
So to recap, we have Cowboys and Packers. Either Dallas wins running away, or the game is close and the Cowboys take it.
No, the Cowboys lose if it's close.
Thank you. Right, thank you. And the Packers take it if it's close. We've got
the Cowboys ain't built to come back for some reason.
No,
they're built to build a lead and keep the lead. And Mike McCarthy is a horrible decision maker when the pressure is on.
This might then lead to Dak, him finally washing off all of what they've been saying, because if he can bring them back
to Mike McCarthy getting fired.
Oh wow!
And Jim Harbaugh going over to Dallas.
Oh wow! We'll talk about that later. Detroit, Los Angeles.
Detroit.
You got Detroit winning
by 10.
By 10. Okay. Obviously, San Francisco doesn't play it. And then you have Baltimore and
Baltimore not playing.
They're not playing. I've been flustered. You got Buffalo and Pittsburgh.
I got Buffalo winning that one.
And then
if TJ Watt was playing, I might pick the what's happening?
And then Kansas City. Who else you got?
I got I think I got Miami over Kansas City because when they played earlier this year, it came down to the wire.
And
they were in London. Cold. They were in London. So I got Miami. And I got the Cleveland Browns. Yes,
it's going to be a great week of football. It should be.
It's going to be fantastic.
Does anybody give us a dud? Do we get a 10-7 game? Do we get a 10-13 game?
If anything, if any game is going to give us a dud, if there's a game that's going to give us a dud, it's going to be Cleveland and Houston.
Well, why would you say that? Flacco is rolling.
He is.
C.J. Stroud.
Oh, yeah, Cleveland defense. And Houston defense ain't no slouch. They not known for, they ain't elite like that, but they ain't no slouch.
Cleveland by 10.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
CJ. No, I get it.
I'm just saying that'll be the one because Buffalo's gonna put up points. You know what? So? You know what might give us a dud is that freezing cold game.
It's worse than I don't want no duds. 7-10, 10-17.
No.
Bunch of field goals.
Unless the defenses are just out there hidden. If they out there hidden, I'm okay.
Don't nobody like hitting no more in the cold.
I'm just saying
these guys built different.
If it's just incomplete passes and just bad play calling and stuff like that, and that's not even just that game. On any game that ends up being, if any game ends up being a dub because of that, then yeah, I'm gonna be mad. But if it's like
pat my hand,
like they catch the ball and they get smacked and the ball just flies off, they're incomplete. Like okay, yeah, like or they try to run the ball and everybody getting smacked 2 yards in to the run. They getting offensive line getting blown up. He gets like if it's some real playoff hard nosed defense.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna be mad at that.
All right. And then what was your take? Because in concluding our NFL segment, what was your brief take on the college football championship?
I knew that Wolverines were going to win. They won by 1 touchdown more than what I said they were going to win. And that championship, to me, in my opinion, was Jim Harbaugh saying TTFN. Ta-ta. For now.
Where do you think he goes? Well, you had mentioned him going to Dallas. If he's free, that's a hard job to turn down.
Yeah, because I know they already said he's linked to the Raiders and
You think the black guy? I don't remember the coach.
I think he should get the job. I think he should keep the job because they seem like they want to play for him.
They do.
The Raiders. What's the other team? That Chargers. Raiders and the Chargers. And
can't go wrong with LA,
man. Yeah.
Or Vegas.
But then there's a lot of other teams that's getting rid of coaches. But at the same time,
but why would he leave though? Because you think he just has to.
In my opinion, if he wants to create a dynasty, no better time than I know a lot of his players probably leaving. Like
they are.
Both running backs are probably leaving.
Yeah, it's gonna be tough
JJ may or may not leave. Is he leaving? He's not senior, is he?
I think he might have been, but
JJ leaving.
But
JJ he
124 yards.
He's a game manager.
Go ahead and get out of here.
He's a game manager.
Go ahead and get out.
He's a Josh Allen without the arm. Because he'll run the ball. He'll take a hit.
He will, and he did take the hit. Yeah.
But yeah, like I mean, if they have a good recruiting class, I don't see another team.
Because he did build,
and they beat everybody
literally.
Like
I believe what it said. The last 3 years they were 33-3 or so, 43-3 or something like that. Like beat everybody.
Like you're not gonna. I see them repeating if he comes back and they have a decent recruiting class.
They lost in the game that mattered. I mean, they won the Rose Bowl and they lose in the game that matters the most. Then they win the Rose Bowl, lose in the game that matters the most, and then this year beat everybody.
They beat everybody. They beat Alabama. They beat Washington. They beat Ohio State. Next year, the only team.
But then why leave? Because then at that point, you just say a number in Ann Arbor, and they're going to make sure that it is delivered.
At this point, they kind of have to.
Because he's like, what else?
Yeah. They said it. They said in their contract, and this is the only reason why I say he may leave. In the contract that for next year, if he signs, they said they already put in the stipulation that he cannot entertain NFL teams no more if he signs his new contract.
I'm gonna need $300 million.
And they would give it to him.
They would have to give it to him
because they've already given him a ridiculous amount of money,
and they've won.
And now they won.
Let me get my people in here. He gets his people in there after 1 or 2 years. Let me get my players in here. He gets his players in here after the whole, that those recruits, they go to home or the NFL or go get great jobs wherever they went. This is his people, and he won with his people. So I remember there was, because it wasn't looking good for a minute. You got the field goal kicker, the punter messing up. It was getting tight. They wasn't beating State 5 years ago. Now they beating everybody. Mm-hmm. Let me get these aren't my recruits. I didn't hire him. Give me more money. Let me hire who I want Let me get the damn kids that I want, and then judge me in 4.
Yeah.
And then in that time span, minus the one transition year, them 3 years following, 33 or 43 and 3. Back up the truck. I want it all.
Yep.
I want it all. But then, as great as he is here, as great as he is, he still got Nick Saban. It was, you know what I mean? Like, this feels colossal. No, he did, but I'm just saying this feels colossal. But then when I look back at the years I watched Alabama just do what they wanted to do,
well, I mean,
this feels bigger.
It's bigger because Alabama was already like kind of like known to have NFL, like their offensive line and defensive, like they have, like,
Julio Jones.
They played like an NFL team.
Oh, Dominique Foxworth, and before we close out, Dominique Foxworth said, "What did you expect them to do?" He was talking about Michigan's defense and how it was a professional defense, and he was like, "Them kids." Because, everybody there is, like the same age, minus like some of the seniors on U of M. But everybody there is fairly around the same age. And he was like, them kids wasn't prepared for that. Like, they didn't know what to do. Like, that is a grown man defense, according to Dominic Foxworth, that Michigan was playing. And, they said that David Washington was just lost and confused. And I never looked at it. I never looked at it like that. But if it takes 4 years
Michael Penix
to make
Jr.
that happen,
was a 6-year senior. That's a grown man making decisions.
Well, but he ain't never seen grown man defense, apparently.
He was what? A 6-year senior will make him what? 22?
He got injured, 3-4 years in a row, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
That's a grown man.
But they said he
about to be able to legally rent a rental car without adults on it.
He can get a room.
He can get his own room.
But Foxworth said that
the man's driver's license is horizontal instead of vertical.
They said that's what he said. He said that was a professional defense that Michigan had.
That's the best defense in the country, and defense
clearly, because it did win.
I knew exactly what Michigan's game plan was going to be, and I didn't think JJ was going to just throw for 124 yards. But I knew they wasn't about to air the ball out. They were going to run the ball and stop them from moving the ball.
So how does that work then? So to Harbaugh's point, if he does in fact leave, in that case, wouldn't you have to? Right? So just real quick, if the Georgias, if the Clemsons, if the Alabamas, if they're a talent, and that's what beats you, talent, you can win with talent in a year. But listening to Foxworth talk, if this defense takes 1, 2, 3, 4 years, for you to, you know what I mean, like for it to hit home. So we'll say maybe 2 years. Would that then make more sense to leave if you know you're gonna have to wait 1 or 2 years before you can contend? Because if the players won't be ready for that style of defense,
I don't think that's the case. Because I think the defense players have been stepping up like every year. Like they're like, yes, it's been getting better,
right.
But it's like it's always the person behind, like the person like Aiden,
next man up.
Yeah. So like their defensive line is better now than when Aiden and what's his name?
I don't know
David. The dude who got drafted to the Ravens. Not a Jigbo. No.
I knew it. Okay, I'm good. I'm going to shut the show down.
David.
You're out of control.
His name starts with it's like an African last name. I can't remember his name. But him and Aiden were both on the defensive line. Aiden was a Heisman candidate at that time. That was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But this defense, like you can't tell me, like, oh yeah, it's it took a while for them to get together. They've been good.
Yeah,
they just
had
last
3 years.
Yeah, it was somewhat like how before they got how they were now. The only time people really scored was like when they gave up a big play. Nobody was really driving on them.
Right. No, you're right.
So
you're right.
They got more discipline because you get to sit behind other players and watch and all that stuff.
And to beat somebody running is impressive,
bro. That was their whole thing. We're gonna run.
And who was that?
Donovan Edwards.
They played 3 years ago 3 years ago, 3 weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago,
and they didn't.
When
They
Harbaugh
didn't
was
pass
first
the ball
out, and
at all
they
in the
just
second
ran
half.
the ball. And I was like, what?
And you can't stop them. You know what we're doing. Can't stop it.
That's not a belief in your defense. But that's because it's all about the defense. If you know that no matter what you do, you can't stop us more than we're going to stop you.
That's that Vince Lombardi. What he say?
I don't know.
He said
that's that Papa Harbaugh. I don't know what his first name is.
No, that's what Vince Lombardi said. He said we try to be so good that you know exactly what we're going to do and you can't stop it.
Well, they did. Hail to the victors.
Hail to the victors valiant.
Thank you.
Conquering heroes.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, try it again.
Hail to Michigan.
Okay. All right.
The leaders and the best. Hail to the victor valiant. Hail to the conquering heroes. Hail,
is this even something real? Or are you making this up?
To Michigan. The leaders
are you making this up?
of the West.
Are you making this?
That's the fight song.
Is it?
Yeah. Hail to the victors.
All right, we're going to close out.
Hail to the conquering heroes.
Sean Manning,
hail to
Jason Jamerson. See y'all next time.
Bye.
I thought you were going to close us out with the song.
Oh,
it's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
The leaders and the best.